Rolling.
Hello, welcome to a special episode of Chat Beer Get Banged. Today we let the general public choose the beers that we're going to review, and we had a total of 5 suggestions. I mean, it's a competition to win beer, and it was free to enter.
Cut! What are you on about, mate?
We had 5 suggestions.
Shut up!
I'm just getting this out of the way now. It's rubbish, man. I mean, we've got over 400,000 listeners.
The most viewed beer podcast in the world, and you could only recommend 4 beers between you all.
Oh man, what's that other podcast that's quite shit?
Quadruple.
I bet they never ask their listeners. Triple hopped.
Quadruple wank.
Yeah.
Anyway, as per usual, I'm your host, Bobson Dugnut.
And I'm Engelbert Humperdinck.
We hail from Leicester. And we're going to do a beer podcast.
Oh man, I'm struggling to get the enthusiasm worked up for this one, Alex. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I'm drinking Jameson's.
Yeah. Okay, well...
What we got on the agenda?
Well, I'll tell you who didn't win, because there was 5 suggestions and we only doing 4 beers. I can't remember the chap's name. Alexander something? He suggested one of the cask ales, which we're not going to do. We're going to stick to pre-packaged beers.
It's not because we don't like cask ales, because it's run out.
Yeah.
We don't have any left.
Well, we've got it in a bottle, but it's not the same. So, we're going to do 2 craft beers and 2 bottled beers, one of which is a... Is that Belgian or what?
I don't know. I've not even looked at it.
German.
No, German. Aventina's Eisbock at 12%, which is the Eisbock basically means that it's what do they call it? Ice distilled. I think Brewdog tried to claim that they were the pioneers of their ice distilling brewing beer with Tactical Nuclear Penguin, but this was basically an experiment by accident. The Germans would leave the beer out in cold winter, and the water in the beer would freeze, and they'll chip it off, and they'll be left with, when it thawed, a stronger beer.
So it's a happy accident.
Yes, very much so. If you're all familiar with the Schneider Weiss Aventinas, it's about 8.4. It's a Bock Weiss beer, which is superb. And I have to admit, I've never tried the Eisbock, so I'm really looking forward to that.
That's going to be the last one, I think. It's going to be the knockout punch.
Yeah.
Second to last, we're going to do one from Scandinavia. It's got a great name, this one. It's called Traverse the Polyverse from Dry and Bitter Brewery. It's a DDH DIPA.
Double dry hopped, double IPA.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was chosen by Paul Brewing.
Cheers, Paul.
Yeah, nice one, Paul.
And
looks like a Pink Floyd album cover, isn't it? The can art.
Alternating between light and dark, because apparently it's better to cleanse your palate. We don't have any water or crackers, we're not spitting into a bucket. Is Sam Smith's Imperial Stout, suggested by Olwyn. It is a 7% Imperial Stout. I've had it quite a lot before. I think I know what it tastes like.
Featured on the podcast previously.
Was it?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, okay. It was a while ago, but I'm pretty sure it was. But that's not to say that it will complement the beers that we've got on the table right now. And I think it's a good addition. Well done, Owen.
We didn't get enough suggestions.
No, I think it's a good suggestion.
I would have chose something new to try.
Something new. What's the...
But thanks, Olwyn.
What's the last one?
The last one is, which is good, we're going to start with.
Yep.
So I'm going to describe this in detail. I'm even going to pull some out right now. It's called Disco Clouds.
Disco Clouds. So for the purpose of the audience, Kieran and I... Sorry, what's your name?
You're right.
Kieran and I are sitting across a 7-8 foot table at either end, so we are perfectly distanced from each other.
I've still got to pour the beer into your glass somehow, though, mate, so hold your breath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us about this then, Kieran? I don't know these guys, I don't think.
Well, it's a collaboration. Yay!
Stop.
How's
Collaborate
that?
and listen.
Disco Cloud. It is a full circle brew co.
Marble.
Full circle brew co. It always makes me suspicious when people say they're a brewing company rather than a brewery, because they could be like just a cuckoo brewer or something.
Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Steve and Billy Brewing Company, for instance, is just a pub company.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that, is there?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Doesn't matter where you produce
You get your
it.
beers made by someone else, or you go to their brewery and make them. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
It just means that you got to check the provenance, innit?
Negates the whole process. Anyway, what style?
Oh, the collaboration is with Errants, who are a brilliant brewery.
Errant.
Errants.
Up in
north.
Newcastle.
Well,
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Smells great.
Did you hear about the Jordan who put sugar and coconut into his peas pudding? And his wife said, "It tastes a bit sweet, pet." And he said, "Aye, it's bounty."
Come on, Dave.
Oh, God. Anyway, smells great. What is it? A DDH?
Yeah, you can't see through it. It's murky as hell.
Yeah, that's how we like them.
Not too impressed with this can either, Alex. It's got paper label. It's peeling off already with the condensation.
I'm getting massive citrus hit on the nose. Fully. Oh, yeah. It smells great. Really fresh. Its taste is not as bitter as you'd expect.
You're tasting it already. I've not even sniffed mine yet. We've got to, be systematical about this.
Why?
Smells, I'd say, citrusy fresh, that.
Yeah, definitely. It tastes pineapple.
I'd say that tastes pineapple.
What? Get out of my head.
Okay,
There's an echo. Yeah, agreed? Pineapple. Pineapple mango.
It tastes like pineapple rings from a tin that you've left in the fridge for a few days.
So it's taken on that tinny essence. Yeah. I'll go with that. So,
Really?
yeah. But does that bring up a debate that beer shouldn't necessarily be canned because its casing, its housing can impart
Even when it's got the lining in now.
Oh, do they? I don't know.
Well, it used to be, you get a can of Skull. It used to be get
I
a
bet
rust
that
in it, didn't it? But I think they've got a line in. I mean, they must do.
I don't know, mate. I don't know. But it's a nice beer. How strong is it?
6.9.
Is it really? It tastes quite sessionable. I quite like the can art. It reminds me, the top half of the can reminds me of those colourblind tests that you used
Quality,
to do.
feel the label though. Quality of the label.
Well, it's a wraparound, isn't it? It's
It's
just,
a wrapper, but it's just like
sticker.
paper. It's not even like
Well,
Well, I suppose that's more environmentally friendly, isn't it? Using paper, right?
maybe. I don't know. What would you give it out of?
Whoa.
What would you give it out of 10?
No, it's out of 5. We do the tap
yeah.
ratings, don't
Yeah,
we?
sorry. How many hop symbols?
Solid,
very pleasant. I
Solid
really-
3.5. But
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to go 3.9.
3.9, yeah.
3.9, I think. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's not going to set the world on fire, but if I got that in a pub and I paid a premium for it, I would not be displeased. But I think that might be because I was in a pub buying beer.
Oh. Oh. That's a cup of sorrow right there.
Maybe. Yeah. That's good. Next one.
Okay.
Are we going to take this opportunity to have a commercial break? A word from our sponsor.
Well, we're sponsored by the Blue Boar home delivery service. Deliver every Friday within 8 miles of LE1. If you want a delivery, you can go onto the website. It's blueboarleicester.co.uk.
Check out the Untapped as well.
Yeah,
everything's listed.
There's like 200 beers.
And they're all...
There's fresh cask every week, and you know, oh, there's lots of discounted beers now because there's lots of out of date stuff. When I say out of date, it's best before. It's beer, it doesn't really go off. In fact, this can is best before. When is it?
We're just trying for the benefit of the tape.
I'm not touching them pork scratchings, by the way.
Underneath.
Is it underneath? Oh. It's out of date anyway.
And I have to vouch, actually, I didn't know it was out of date. And for really hoppy beers, they're supposed to be drank really fresh.
That's why they put it on. They want you to drink it fresh, right?
Yeah, but they're
They shoot themselves in the foot, man.
14th of December.
14th of December.
Yeah, last year.
Oh, right.
So it's what, 6 weeks out of date?
Yeah.
But
Technically, last decade.
Tastes cracking.
no, yeah. But it does taste really good. I'm out of date beer's good.
Yeah, mate.
And you get it
drinking
cheap.
it. How pretentious is that to say you must drink our beer fresh within whatever?
No, I don't think it's pretentious. I just think that they
They're
want
trying
you,
hard.
No,
They're trying too hard.
Shut up. Listen.
Craft beer wankers.
They want you to have the best experience with their beer possible. So unless you drink it when they want you to,
Right.
yeah, it's like a cask. A cask
Okay,
meat.
I get it. I get you.
Consume within 3 days of opening. Consume within 10 days of canning. That's basically what they're saying. It's not going to go off. It's just might be better if you drink it in the time allotted. But having said that, this beer is really good.
If you're a brewer, you basically get to choose your best before date.
What might explain?
Pretty much.
I
I
thought
mean, to an extent.
it was a standard 6 weeks.
No. Well, that's the. If you get beer delivered, that's what the publican expects.
Right.
But when you're in the brewery, for instance, there's one big pub company. It might be Marston's. They're right bastards anyway. They're going to be bought out, by the way, by the Yanks. Anyway, that's brewery news coming later in the show, guys. So, because of lockdown, they went and picked up all the beer off their tenants and relabeled it and then shipped it back out to them.
But no way.
Yeah, they did that.
Yeah.
Because one of the guys was canny enough to write down the goal number, you know. Or whatever.
I think. So I'm going to make a statement here, especially for these, as you like to say, hipster craft beers. They are given a very short timescale for best before, because in the casing they are, in the housing they are, like in a can, it's best to drink them really early. If it was a stout, for example, you'd expect it to mature and age, but the freshness of the hops is very vital. If you're if you're dry hopping something, you want to be able to keep that aroma and flavour housed in a beer and keep it as fresh as possible, because over time it's going to degrade.
Okay, let's move on to the next bit, and then
Yeah.
I want to talk to you later about exploding cans. So this is Sam Smith's Imperial Stout.
Shall we take a break? I need a wee.
All right, we'll pause it then.
And we're back.
Right, I'm pouring out this Imperial Stout.
Pouring out your heart to me.
If I was pouring out my heart to you, mate, I would say that I love this beer because it's a proper English brew.
Back off.
It's traditional. It ain't craft, mate. It's beyond craft. It's been crafted for like 200 years, man.
So yeah, for the benefit of the tape, we are now sampling Sam Smith's Imperial Stout, which comes in at a whopping 7.0. I'm pretty sure we featured this before on the podcast. It's a brilliant beer. It's a wholesome beer. It's full of flavour. It's got incredible depth. I'm saying this without even trying it today. I just know.
How much does that cost you, the Sam Smith pub? £2.50 or something?
I don't know.
In the pub?
What's a pub?
Oh, mate. Oh, mate. It was Christmas time was the worst, when you couldn't go and do your shopping and end up in the pub instead, you know, and have that Christmas pub thing going on.
Pub air. Our Leicester with you. Pub air.
Well, you know, despite
You're right.
despite moving to LA and changing my name to Engelbert, I'm still a Leicester lad.
Doesn't live in LA.
He lives in
Vegas.
Ose,
Vegas.
Vegas.
Greg Glen in Vegas.
Great Glen.
Anyway, Engelbert. Sam Smith's Imperial Stout, 7%. It's a bit weaker than I'd like an Imperial Stout. I recently had a Imperial Stout that was sitting over smoked Jack Daniel's soaked wood chips.
Whoa.
It was 14%.
Can you remember the name of the brewery?
I'm not sure he has a name.
Oh, it's your mate.
Homebrew,
It's your
Owen.
mate. How did he get hold
Owen
of?
Turner.
How did he get hold of Jack Daniel's soaked wood chips?
Well, he soaked them in Jack Daniel's himself.
I thought the idea of homebrew was to save yourself some cash.
Well, not if you want to make good beers.
Like that's going like a little bit too far though.
Mate, it was superb. It was superb. And actually, that was my fault over the dry January.
You know when you, in the mornings when you put JD on your cornflakes, Alex? Do you,
Yeah.
like upend the bowl into your mouth afterwards, or you just leave it?
I leave it for the kids
Leave it.
or the cat. Anyway, what? Come on, get your chops around this.
Right, it's.
Pitch black.
If I was pouring that for myself, I'd be expertly pouring it with a nice thick white head, which you can do with this beer. As it is, it's got a little bit of a head, a little bit of a brown head.
Brown head, yeah, which is what I like to see. No manufactured white heads.
Are they manufactured? Is that fake?
Well,
Fake news?
you know, stuff like canned Guinness or
Oh, it's awful, man. Do you know Paddy's Day, right? The pubs weren't closed, but it was shit. You couldn't really go to the pub that time. Duffy's had the worst St. Patrick's Day ever. So I got myself a 4-pack of draft Guinness in a can, not had it for ages, and ended up throwing 3 of them in the sink because
Just
just
bullshit.
awful.
Anyway,
It's
look,
fucking
listen, this is downside better than Guinness. I know it's a very different drink, but
Guinness original. Guinness brewed by the
we're not
Nigerians.
talking about Guinness, mate. We're talking about Sam Smith's Imperial Stout.
Well, I want to make the point.
Oh, do it in beer news.
Okay, well, okay, let's just stick to talking about this a bit. But let me just make this point. You have to judge every strong stout against Guinness for an extra. That's the benchmark. Now, I'm not saying it's the best, but that's what you have to judge it against, right? Because it's the most widely available, and it has been around forever. So would you say this is better or worse than Guinness for an extra?
It's been such a long time since I've had a Fez that I don't know.
Cool, okay.
Yeah, I can't.
I'd say it's about on a par.
On a par, okay. Well, good. Well, I mean,
Because
but
I do drink drinks that the common man drinks at home.
in terms of tasting notes, what have you got from this? I've got a lovely creaminess, coffee, licorice.
Yeah, you know, licorice is one of them flavours I never think I like, but
I
then I
don't
have
like
it,
licorice.
and yeah, I wouldn't eat all sorts.
Yeah. Bassett's, licorice, all sorts of fucking the devil of confectionery. Awful. But this is not. It's not an overt flavour of licorice. It's a very subtle flavour that complements the coffee, the caramel, the richness of perhaps even lactose. But
What's
it
your
doesn't
favourite
have
confection? Pies.
Murray mints.
Murray mints.
No. I don't know. I panicked. I just said Murray mints. Werther's Originals. Butterscotch.
I had a packet yesterday of Werther's.
Yeah, I bought some recently, and I
A lot of the customers come into the pub have some in the pocket, like just because they're old.
yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on. Rate my beer.
5. So for
In this
me-
category, right? We've got to take into consideration. Is it an imperial stout? In my opinion, no.
doesn't pass the strength threshold. Fuck.
It might do for you.
Yeah.
No, not. If it's an imperial stout, it's got to be 10% plus.
Okay.
Is it a good premium stout? Yes. One of the better beers to come out of Sam Smith's, in my opinion, because it's full-bodied, it's full of flavour, It's carbonated, but not to a point where it's overly gassy. It's just a really pleasant drinking beer, and it will go well with a dessert, tiramisu, sticky toffee pudding.
Okay. Are you going to do a segment now on the history of Imperial Stout?
No.
Good. So.
Good.
Is that all we can say about this beer?
Buy it. It's great. It is a great beer.
I think it retails for £3 a bottle.
£3 a bottle for 7%.
What? You buy a case of 12 for 30 quid.
355 millilitres. £3 a bottle. If you went to a service station, you'd pay that for a bottle of Coke.
Really?
Yeah.
How does that compare to cinema prices for Coke? Is it more or less in the garage?
But it's going to be more in a cinema.
The scope of this podcast is broadening all the time. Let's face it, beer's a bit boring.
Out of 5. Have we done that? Out of 5. Out of 5.
Out of 5. Again, for me, a solid 3.6. I'm going to rate it 0.1 more than the craft beer.
I'm going to go 3.5 because I love the beer. I think it's great, but I think it's mislabelled. I think it's misleading. It's not an imperial stout.
What would you put it as? Strong stout?
Yeah.
Okay.
Stouts are supposed to be strong, right?
I'll concede that one to you.
Oh.
Well, it used to be stronger, didn't it? But then, like, progressive beer duty, mate. Anyway,
by the by.
Anyway.
Right, so we come to about halfway through our beer tasting session. And I'd like to address some situations that we are all currently experiencing in our community and society and world. And that is obviously...
Narrow your focus.
Obviously, we're talking about the role of pubs during this global pandemic, specifically in this country.
Mm-hmm.
I think, my personal opinion, having worked in the trade since 15, 16 years old, that we are being absolutely misrepresented and unfairly treated.
Okay.
One of the most recent developments in this current lockdown, we call it lockdown 3.0, is 6-7 weeks ago we were able to do beer delivery, which we are still doing with the Blue Ball. We were also able to do click and collect. Prior to that, before we were able to open as a pub, we were doing a walk-in off license where people were able to come into the pub or the shop and peruse for beers that they want to buy.
Okay.
That was taken off us. That's first. We conform to all rules and regulations. That was stripped of us. Then we were allowed to do delivery and takeaway, click and collect. Then the click and collect was stripped of us. And I want to know why. Why, as a publican, am I not allowed to stand with a barrier across my front door and let people come who have already bought beer to come and collect it? Now, the argument from the government is that people were congregating outside the establishment and drinking their beers and chatting to their friends.
That's the official reason given for the restriction.
Yes.
Yes.
In my experience, we never did it on a massive scale because we're micro pubs, the Blue Ball and the Elston. Micro pubs. So at most, I would have 1 or 2 people waiting in a queue who were fully aware of rules and regulations and would stay the appropriate distance apart, not contravening any rules and regulations that the government has stipulated. What really grinds my gears is that those same people can go and do their weekly shop in a major supermarket, I'm not naming any, and they can go and peruse the booze aisle at liberty, at will, with a number of other people. If I had a shop, as I did in the summer last year in 2020, or click and collect service, I can regulate the amount of people that come and go. I can regulate the amount of people that are in the shop at any one time. I can make sure that these people are wearing masks, or if they're unable to wear masks, I can offer them an alternative. Now, moving on to my point about click and collect service, is that I'm not allowed to have maybe 1 or 2 people waiting outside of my establishment waiting to pick up beer. However, a non-essential retail like Next or another clothing label are allowed to have streams and queues of people waiting outside ready to collect their parcels that they've already bought online. So where is the justice in this? This is something that I'm really feeling quite annoyed about. Next, have had to employ or get their already employed staff to work extra hours to process the demand.
Well,
Which
click and collect.
click and collect. Yeah. For example, my sister-in-law.
So that's an unnecessary journey, right? Buy a new jumper.
Absolutely. You don't need new clothes. If you don't have any clothes, then I would probably question your ability to survive in life. If you don't need a new.
Some of our customers only get new clothes when Camera do like mild in May t-shirt giveaways.
That's their prerogative. But they're not making an unnecessary journey. They're waiting for that to be delivered.
No, well, I'm talking about when pubs were open. Before,
Oh, right, okay.
In the before times.
Yeah, well, this is something that really, really, really fucks me off. Pardon my French. Why on earth are these people allowed to congregate en masse outside of a non-essential retail shop? Is it because Next as a corporation contribute more tax to this country?
I think what's happened is there's a few isolated incidents of people boozing it up in a beer garden after having collected their beer from some pubs around the country, and rather than go and punish those pubs or punish those people, they've done a blanket ban because that's the easiest thing for them to do.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think that's. I think you've hit the nail on the head. That's because the small man, on an individual basis, is not paying the tax that the bigger guys are. But when you look at it objectively, are Next paying their way in terms of corporation tax, or I don't know enough about it. Really, I'm just making assumptions. I'll admit that. But we are the backbone of this society. You know, we are providing a service to our customers who are rich, poor, beggarman, whatever. We are providing that service because they want to support us, and then they've just been systematically been told that they cannot do that because you might spread the virus. If I've got 2-3 people waiting in a queue, you might spread the virus. But Next, you're all right. You can have 100 people in your queue.
There's been some isolated incidents where people have gone and click and collect their beers, and so people in the queue, they've got the beers, and then they've cracked the beers open and stood chatting with their mates, and the pub should have controlled it and moved it on, but they're outside there and they're drinking, and as soon as you put alcohol in the situation, people become a bit more belligerent, and then police have maybe been called and asked to move them on, but once you've had a few beers, you get a bit mouthy, and then it's just a blanket ban on everyone to not do it, just for a few isolated things, but as soon as you put alcohol into it, your respect for authority goes downhill.
But that's the individual, isn't it? It's not the premises, it's not the trade.
No, but it's just on the site, so whoever's in charge of that site should have moved those people on.
Well, as soon as they've taken the beer away from the premises, for example...
But they're not, they're still just stood out the front drinking.
Yeah, but it's a public highway. Outside the Blue Ball now, it's a public highway.
Yeah,
and we have no jurisdiction.
No, come on, if people were out the front drinking beers, we sold them and they were stood there.
We can only say, I'm sorry guys, you're not allowed to do that. You have to move on.
We supplied that service, so it's a blanket ban on everyone.
I see what you're saying. We have...
Like, if it was happening out the front and it's on your licence, you'd be like, you guys need to move because I'm going to get penalised for this, even if you weren't.
Yeah, you can play that card, but ultimately, as soon as they leave the premises onto a public highway, it has nothing more to do with this. We cannot stop somebody from cracking open a beer and talking to somebody else, regardless of whether they bought the beer from me. It's irrelevant.
No,
maybe that's why they have to do the blanket ban, because we can't stop it.
Yeah, and the police comes down and it just gets quick.
It's so yeah.
Unfortunately, that's why.
But can you see?
I can see your point. I can see your point, man. I can see your point.
I'm completely with you, but that's why it's
happening. I've been so kind of gung-ho about this and narrow-minded.
But
that you have...
though, because the click and collect scheme is ridiculous, because you can click and collect and go and get whatever clothes from Next, like you're saying, for example, and it means you're on the roads, you're driving, more chances of car crashes to happen. That takes away from the emergency services. So click and collect for unnecessary items should not be going on right now.
No.
It's alcohol, clothes.
Delivery, man, delivery.
Click and collect shouldn't be allowed to happen. You can go into a coffee shop, walk in and get your coffee to take away. You can walk into Greg's, go in and get your baguette and your coffee to take away. McDonald's have chosen to not let people go in and get their
Delivery
food anymore.
only,
They only do delivery, but we can't have people come in.
But we can, with the small premises like we've got, the two premises that we've got, the Elston and the Blue Ball, we can regulate the amount of people that come into the shop. It's no different to the post office near us that doubles up as an off licence. They've got a kind of face-saving sign in the window that says no more than 4 people in the shop. But we could go one further and we could really regulate it because we don't have the mass trade that supermarkets do. So why not let us trade, continue to trade and try and keep our heads above water and try and contribute to the economy?
Okay, fair enough. It's not the worst mistake the government have made in this whole crisis and how they've treated pubs. Let's move on to the next bit.
Okay, all right.
It's a good point. You know, thanks for the rant.
I needed it. What we got next then? This looks like a good one. The can art.
Scandinavian.
Where's that? Is that Holland? No! No, the answer's no, Kieran. It's Denmark.
Norway.
Denmark, Norway, Finland, debatable, Sweden.
Why do Norwegian battleships have barcodes on the hull?
Because
when
they
get
go
back
back
into
to port, they can Scandinavian.
Yeah, you got
it.
Good one.
You told me that one.
So this is Traverse the Polyverse from Bitter and Dry.
Right, tell me what a polyverse is, man.
Polyverse is the notion that there is more than one universe. Polyverse, a bit multi.
Right.
Multiverse, polyverse.
I thought it was just like a long song. There's no choruses.
Shall we take this opportunity to have a pee break
You don't laugh
now?
at my jokes anymore, man. If you just like, it's like a marriage, me and you. You don't laugh at my jokes anymore. We never sleep together. We never did, but you know.
You'll be getting a strongly worded email from my wife if you carry that.
As long as you keep your mask on, mate.
Listen, we're gonna have a pee. We're gonna have a pee break.
Stop the tape.
Stop the tape. Welcome back.
They've not been away. We've been away.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Right then. Traverse the Polyverse. It's got some grade A bullshit on the back. You ready?
Yeah, go on.
This heightened double IPA pairs a rich oaty body with a heavy, dry, hop Idaho 7.
Yeah.
That's a band, isn't it? Idaho 7.
No, it's a hop.
El Dorado, that's the TV programme.
Also a hop.
And Citra.
Also a hop.
Right. The result is a tropical and hazy hop altar, as in church altar.
ALTAR.
These guys, something lost in translation here.
Yeah, I was going to say you're doing really well. I didn't know you read and spoke Danish.
With notes of sweet pineapple, lychee, and lime. Sounds like a cocktail, man. So, are you ready to worship at the altar
Do you know? It's funny to say lychee because lychee is obviously quite a prominent flavour in all these kind of new world hoppy beers, but it's always something that is on the tip of my tongue, but I've never been able to articulate it until you've just said lychee.
I don't think I've ever actually had a lychee. What do they look like?
They're like spiky and they're white, fleshy.
It's
Turkish
a
delight.
pinky colour, slightly bigger than a grape, like a very, very
dragon
large
fruit?
grape.
No.
And it's got like spiky hard.
Can you get it on
skin.
Leicester Market?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Leicester Market's got everything.
Yeah, that's true.
So instantly I've got Citra on the nose. And I think Idaho 7 and Citra are very similar.
Sweet.
Right.
What was the other one? El Dorado.
Yeah.
El Dorado must be a derivative of one of the big boys.
Okay.
I'm not sure. If you know where El Dorado came from, in terms of the native species of hop, the kind of father and mother species of the hop, then let us know. But yeah, I'm pretty sure El Dorado is a derivative of one of the sea hops.
This has got more hops than the kangaroo enclosure at Twycross.
They don't have any kangaroos at Twycross, dude.
It's got more hops than Watership Down.
Oh. Right, smell.
It's got more hops.
It's really.
Might edit that joke out, actually.
It's really Citra forward.
Citra forward.
Citra forward, yeah.
What's in? Okay.
You can smell the Citra. Citra has been at the forefront of brewing for the last 8 to 10 years.
Who was the original? Oakham.
That's the first one that I tried.
The first one that broke through to the mainstream, right?
Yeah, I believe so. And what a triumph of a beer.
Is it a Yankee hop?
Yes, but I think all the genomes are derivatives of classic English hops.
Right.
They're like crossbreeds. There is a Wikipedia page that will give you the heritage of.
So someone did like a Sir Walter Raleigh in reverse and just took a hops around the world.
Maybe no. I think it's more likely. Oh, look, hops here. We'll take a cutting of that and we'll go and grow it in our own soil.
All right. Well.
And we'll cross-pollinate with this.
Next time, do your homework.
I don't think there'll be a next time, Kieran.
Okay, so, I mean, as far as I can tell, the can's not lying. It's very drinkable for 7.5%.
7.5. It doesn't taste that strong. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah. If you like a hazy craft beer, hophead, loads of hops.
Does it give any info on the yeast?
No.
It's obviously a strain that doesn't flocculate and take out the proteins that are suspended within the beer, or that could just be the amount of hop oil that we're getting in this. It's great. It's a really good beer.
Cool. Nice one.
Dominant aroma is Citra.
And beautiful can art as well.
Mm.
It looks like something from 2001 Space Odyssey.
Or 2000 AD.
Yeah.
Or Pink Floyd album cover.
Yeah. It's all shiny.
Yeah.
It's all shiny and stuff.
All
the can art from these guys is good.
Branding on that's good. You spot it a mile off there.
Is
can
it bitter and dry? Bitter and dry?
Dry and bitter.
Dry and bitter, okay. So I was enamoured, absolutely enamoured by their can artwork. And I think this seems to be a trend with Scandinavian breweries, specifically Danish breweries, that they employ an artist to design artwork for specific beers, and then it becomes a limited run.
Right.
So we're not just talking about like,
because there's a whole range of this, and it looks like the same artist, right?
it could be,
Yeah,
it could be.
yeah.
I think Mikella did a similar sort of thing, and the artist that for Mikella did a design specifically for that beer, and then once that beer ran out, you couldn't obtain that piece of art anymore. So it gives it a multifaceted approach by the art and by the beer.
For people who don't know McKellar,
Mikella are kind of like the Harley Davidson of Danish beer.
if he was a pop star, what would he be? Because that's what he's like. He's like the pop star of the brewing world. He's like the celebrity brewer, isn't
Mikella.
he? Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose so, but in a really cool way, you know.
Okay, so
Sold out, but
probably
not
like
sold out.
Probably like a cool hip hop star like Drake or somebody.
No, probably not.
Not like Barbara Streisand or someone like that.
Not really a. No, what did I say?
I wasn't listening.
No.
Cool.
No, Mikella are the forerunners of this kind of revolution when it comes to Danish beer. But that's not to say that people like dry and bitter, or bitter and dry, whatever they're called, or ale farm, are doing bigger and better things.
So ale farm, dry and bitter, maybe those names sound a bit cooler in Scandinavian because they've got everything else right, apart from the name of the brewery's a bit boring, isn't it?
But yeah, you're right. But name eventually becomes synonymous with quality, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, for example, let's talk about the new metal phase of the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Korn with a backwards R, shit name.
But now it's
Mogwai.
just
Mogwai for the post-rock world. Never intended to be. It was a working title. Never intended to be.
so traditionally, right? Breweries in this country just had the name of the brewer, the name of the guy brewing. Samuel Smith, John Smith,
Okay, yeah.
Mr. Boddington, whatever.
Yeah.
And on the continent, they had the name of the place,
Mm-hmm.
right? Duvel was a place, right?
Duvel's not. Duvel is. It means devil. It's not Duvel. It's Duvel.
Duvel.
Duvel. Duvel is a correct pronunciation. Duvel it means devil.
Devil with a duvet.
No, just devil.
Like, he's always hogging it. You get your feet cold.
No,
No.
no.
Alright. What was my point?
On the continent, they name the breweries after the place.
And now, it's just a free-for-all. I mean, we've got some crazy name breweries in this country.
Totally brewed.
Bang the
Where are
Elephant.
they from? But yeah, Bang the Elephant.
I asked that guy why he called Bang Elephant, and he's like, oh, it's a Victorian thing. I'm like, okay, that's cool. You've got nice Victorian can artwork and that, but
Don't be so cryptic.
surely you want it to be more accessible, right?
Yeah. Don't be cryptic. When I had delusions of grandeur as a 20-something getting into craft ale, I brewed my own beer, and I was absolutely sold on Colonel beers because at the time they were the forerunners of amazing craft beer, and I love the simplicity of it all. The fact that they just called their beer IPA, Eldorado, and Citra.
Right.
So
Functional names.
yeah, which I fully agree with. Don't give it some kind of fancy bollocks.
I think a lot of that comes from the real ale scene, doesn't it?
Well, look,
Where you get some guy employed by each brewery just to write puns for the beer name.
Well, I think a lot of it is down to like when you're naming the brewery, everyone seems to think they need a backstory now. Which is a lot of these like apprentice programs. You need a backstory for the brewery to put on the back of it. And to name a beer now, so many different beers out there, it's so hard to have an original name for a beer that the names have got to get ridiculous because they've all been taken.
No one gives a fuck about your mission statement.
No, but to actually name the beer once you've got
Beer
the
by
brewery,
numbers
Wankers.
have fallen major victim to that. I don't care what you did before you started brewing beer. You brew good beer, and you've got a good formula because you use numbers.
They fucked up the number system because they get number 55 and it's two different types of hops and it's number 55, version 1, version 2, brewed this year, brewed that year. It's like, just give each one a different number. Like, you're not going to run out of numbers.
I bet that it sounds more complex than it is.
I don't want to learn your system to be able to drink your beer.
No, you don't. But other people go.
You're talking about Triple Hop podcast again, ain't you?
No,
those guys like to geek out with that. They've probably got a spreadsheet on brew by numbers.
I'm talking about people that local guys to us. Framework. Love their beers. Love Andy. Great bloke. My understanding is, I mean, Andy, if you're listening to this, let me know. But my understanding when you first started brewing is that you produce the same beer under different version numbers. So you had whatever 2.0, 2.1, 2.2. That's because you had to use what you had in terms of hop contract because you'd not secured a hop contract.
Because you're a new brewery.
Yeah. So you had to produce the same beer, but it was a
the
different
consistency.
variation.
You get the brand recognition of the name, but just do a slightly different version because.
Yeah, in fact, Andy from
Good
Framework.
idea.
Andy from Framework, if you are listening to this, I would really like your input on that. I'm not going to say I want an explanation because that sounds rude, but I think that was my understanding of it. Your different version numbers was because you were struggling to get a regular supply of a particular ingredient, so therefore you had to adapt.
Let's get him on the show when lockdown's lifted.
Definitely, mate. Yeah, definitely. If you'd like to do that, yeah, and bring some of your nice sourdough bread.
Then how many times has Brewdog tried to sue people who've got their pub named after the same beer that they brewed? And we small pub, I forget what pub it is now. There's a pub that had the same name and they brewed the beer, and then Brewdog was trying to get this wee pub to change the name of their pub, and they'd been there before.
Oh,
and then there was another beer that was brewed
that.
and it had the same name as one of the Brewdog beers, and Brewdog sued that small brewery again. That's the problem with the names of the beers.
Which is really bizarre because
Brewdogs are douchebags.
Brewdogs are douchebags. I agree, but they publish,
James, what?
They publish all of their recipes online.
No. It weren't recipes, just the name.
Yeah, but why would they publish all the recipes if they don't want people to replicate their style?
They weren't replicated. They just somehow picked the same name.
Yeah, they're just dickheads, man.
That's you got to be careful. You have the same name as someone else. You've got to be original with it. And that's why you have silly names of beers. Rhubarb or Streisand.
Oh yeah, but you can't copyright the name of a hop that's already been copyrighted or patented, can you? You just say, right, this is Millstone Lane Brewing Co. and this is Citra Eldorado IPA.
Yeah, this is Oakham Citra, and then this is Ashdown Citra.
Alright, I've had enough of this hoppy shit, man. Let's get on to the good stuff now.
Yeah, right. Okay, this is a beer that I've been looking forward to for a while. It's the Schneider Weiss Aventinus Eisbock.
Named after an old Mega Drive game.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's Eastward.
Alright, only a little bit for you.
Don't be stingy, Minge. Okay, that looks great. That looks great. Look at that dark ruby colour. Whoa, look at that head.
That's what she said.
That is nice. I'm not even sniffed it yet, man.
Right, undoubtedly bottle conditioned. It's a smaller bottle. It's a 33. It's 12%. It's a Weissen Eisbock.
I love it when you talk foreign to me.
And it's got a date on it, the 2nd of March, 2025.
Yeah, because they're realistic, man.
Because it's bottle conditioned, and yeah, it just all the beers, all the hoppy beers that we've tried this evening are can conditioned. They don't filter the yeast out.
Which is why the Howling Hop stuff was exploding last week.
Well, yeah. Okay. Before we try this, let's make an interesting point about this because Howling Hops.
Basic health and safety, lads.
Well, in their defence, I mean, I'll be honest. I've had a few Howling Hops beers that have popped the top of a can, soaked the off licence, the pub, whatever you want to call it, and just made a fucking mess. And it's dangerous.
I had one explode in my hand.
I've had to recall delivery drivers because they've had stuff burst in their vehicles. The reason it does that is because it's not at the correct temperature. The yeast has started to work again. So basically, they'd probably put it in the can when it's still working.
If you're going to can a beer and send it out your brewery, it's got to be robust enough to survive any temperature.
But it's a live product. This is why they say it needs to be drank within. It's a live product.
Don't put it in a fucking can then.
It's the same thing in a bottle, in a glass bottle. The repercussions are much less in a can than they are in a glass bottle. If a glass bottle explodes in your hand, you're not going to get off too well, are you?
There are lots and lots of breweries who manage to make non-exploding cans of fresh beer.
Agreed.
These guys just either don't know what they're doing, or they had an off day where they canned some stuff, or maybe it was the canning plant that was the problem, and not them. I don't know. They're from London, so we're allowed to.
There was one particular Howling Hops beer that I tried. I think it was part of the Friends Romans Countryman series. It was a green and blue geometric can.
It was the first podcast we did, mate.
Yeah, that's right. I chose it because I was really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And it was fucking foul. It tasted like washing up liquid. It was awful, and I tried my best to like it.
Let's be generous and say that they had an off day at the brewery, or an off week.
But how can you possibly send out a product that is inferior to the mission statement that you are putting out? It's got to be detrimental to...
They're just trusting in the process that they're doing. I mean, they're trusting the brew, they're trusting the canning, so
Right,
it'll be a brew that gets through if they're just sticking to the same formula all along.
I will put it into perspective. Recently, during this furlough scheme lockdown, I've been able to focus on something that I'm really passionate about, my photography. And I don't mean to bang on about this, but I've been able to sell prints. And I've recently devised a magazine that's on sale. I'm not going to plug it, but what I will say is that one of the stipulations when I sell a print is that if you are not happy with your product, I expect you to come back to me and say, I'm not happy with it, I'm not happy with the price that I paid because this, and I will rectify that accordingly. But there is nothing necessarily, it's almost arrogance on a brewer's part that what I put into this can is fucking law. Drink it, you will like it. But in actual fact, a lot of the times they're trying to save money by sending out a batch that is inferior. No?
Save money? I think it's to do with the constant experimentation that they do.
Yeah.
And the fact that they haven't got a tried and tested formula because they're just making it up as they go along.
Yeah, that unprofessional.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you made the point about the availability of hops earlier on, right? If you've got to use this type of hop because you're not used it before and you don't get the recipe right and you end up with exploding cans, but it's a one-off because you only brew that beer once, well, you fuck it and move on, you know? What's to stop you making that same mistake again? Say what you like about Molson Coors, man, but they must get consistent.
Oh, just same with Everard's. Consistency is a brewer's best dream. That's what you want. As a brewer, you want consistently good beer. You want the beer to taste the same from brew to brew. And there is plenty of software that you can employ to make sure that that is the case. A brewer that, I've not spoken to him in a while, Muirhouse, I asked him about his process of trying out new beers, and I thought it might be a little bucket brew and then, you know, scaled up to the 5-barrel plant that he had or whatever it was. But he said to me once, he was like, no, I just kind of come up with it in my head and go for it, and if it's good, then I sell it.
Yeah, he's doing cask though, that's a different beast.
But it all comes from the same process, Kim.
Right, but he might have had some training as a brewer.
He was a warehouse operative, warehouse manager. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Anyway, what's this beer like? This ice age beer.
Schneider Weisse Aventina's Ice Box. It's 12%.
I can smell some dark fruits.
Absolutely put hairs on your chest. This is full on dried fruit, currants, raisins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, man, that's
It's meaty.
that's cake delicious like that.
It's like Christmas cake, isn't it?
I'll say it's Christmas to me.
Yeah. If it had a sprinkle of cinnamon in it,
It's heavy.
you could probably like that, and it would set ablaze.
You reckon?
Yeah. Should we test it?
Yeah, go.
We've got a little bit left in the bottle.
There you are. Get your lighter out.
Right, for the purpose of the video, for the tape, sorry, I'm pouring the rest of the ice box into a glass. We might need a wick because you're getting on mine just going to set fire alarms off if I do this?
No,
No.
it'll be alright.
So I'm just going to light a bit of cardboard and stick it in the glass and see if I can burn any alcohol off.
Yeah.
Because it's 12%. I mean, it's a hefty beer. Right. So try it. It might go.
Go on.
The wick might go out
Yeah.
because I put it.
Quick. Nah, dash it, man.
Nah.
Dash that in the beer.
Theory debunked. So it's not alcoholic enough to set light to, like you would your cognac or whatever.
Cleared that up for everybody.
Well, yeah.
No, they don't have to do that at home.
Yeah, you don't have to do that. Hey.
This is £4 a bottle. It's currently retailing at £4 a bottle.
That's a bargain.
I think.
That's a bargain.
Yeah.
It's a mega beer. It's a good ender to the podcast. It's brilliant.
We're going to end it there then.
Yeah, it's a 4+ for me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if we're going to rate it, yeah, I'll go for. This is the beer of the year so far.
Yeah, because I've not really got much to gauge it against because of the furlough scheme and whatnot. I've been out of touch with the product. I've just not had the chance to do it. It's very sad, but you know.
You'll be alright, mate.
Yeah.
You'll be okay. Well, thanks for listening. If you got to the end, you're a saint. Oh, we need to pick a competition winner
Paul Brumming.
for that suggestion there. Yeah?
He's a long-time listener, great bloke, long-time customer of the house, and the bloke deserves recognition. He's always supported us through thick and thin. For me, you are the people's winner, Paul.
Okay, well, Paul, you'll be receiving one of each of these beers in your next delivery. If you place an order, if you don't, we'll ship them out to you anyway.
Shall we do the outro for one last time?
Oh.
La 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 la. Chat beer, get banged.
Pick a key.